don't think I need to start doing any special introduction because this is not my first time here. But for people who are like having their first time being in this session, my name is George Jinadu. About 2 decades of finance experience. I'm the founder of the Finance Business Partners. It's a dream that has been there for like a few years, just trying to see how we can build a community, especially for us people with interest in finance. You know, everywhere you go, all you hear is tech, tech, and all that. So, but nobody's really taking care of us as finance people with experience and expertise in that field. So, hey, we just decided to come up with something like this and, something dedicated to us because we are also special. Tech will not solve all the problems. Tech will enable, but not provide all the solutions to the world's problems. So, and over my career, one of the things I've learned is my biggest learning moments came from my learning from people, not necessarily what I learned in school, not necessarily what I learned during my ICANN classes, and not even necessarily what I learned from my MBA and all that, and whatever certifications, but rather from interacting and engaging and picking up stuff from other people. If you know me well, I'm not a BS person, very easy to approach, but I don't believe in the theoretical life because what we have generally is there's a huge theoretical life out there whereby people believe that, because most of us go to school, learn from professors, but at the end of the day, when we are done with school, the real life faces us. And there's a huge gap between what the schools are teaching and what the employers want. I'm privileged enough to make it to the top, so I can say from my experience that to share what I know. I don't know it all, but I've been able to meet a lot of people who know a lot, and so we try to organize this meet and chat to share knowledge based on our own experience and exposure in life. So without much ado, I think today's topic touches on 2023. Sorry, my presentation seems to be hanging. Okay, I think I figured it out. Yep. So today's presentation is pretty much around 2023 and anchoring on our realities, because whether we like it or not, 2023 has come and it's about to go. And fortunately, unfortunately, it came with its own challenges, and that's how life is. From what I've learned from my mentors, it's the challenges that make us who we are. And it's not necessarily about that you won't face challenge. You will always face challenge, but what do you do with it? And that's, for me, is one of the most important things. So today we'll be talking very briefly around the future of finance and anchoring on lessons from 2023. So let me just pull up my presentation. Okay. Let me know if you see my screen. Okay. I'm guessing that's a yes. Okay, so today's topic is the future of finance, anchoring on lessons from 2023. We can digest this in so many ways, from so many angles, but as much as possible, I'll try to take us on a journey where we are as practical as possible and as realistic as possible. So we're going to be covering a couple of topics. We're going to touch very, very briefly, because if we decide to focus fully on it, it will probably take us a whole year, because a lot has been happening all over the world. We're touching on global landscape, key trends that shape 2023. And over the past couple of weeks, I've had conversations with a number of people, and it surprises me how people don't realize that the world is actually one big family. So people assume what is happening in the US or what is happening in China doesn't really impact on them. But through our conversations, we'll try and touch very briefly on some of those things that happened in other countries that actually, if eventually, is what is making Nigeria the way it is and affecting you in your direct ways. Then we'll also try and touch very briefly on 2024, the global outlook. I'm not an economist. I'm not someone who has a crystal ball to look into the future. So, but this is just purely my own perspective. I'm still studying, still doing some research on what the goals are for next year for many countries that might have impact on our lives and even, generally. Then we'll try to look at Nigeria 2023 at a glance. What were the big things that shaped the country? There were a lot of things that happened too, but there are some very notable ones that there's no way you can talk of 2023 in Nigeria's history and you won't mention those things. Then we'll also try and look at 2024, what Nigeria is going to be looking like. Pretty much things that the government is planning to do and some realities that will, crystallize with those things that the government is trying to do. Then we're going to talk of what I feel is most important part of this presentation, which is how do you unlock great opportunities in 2024? Because the reality of life is there are some things you can change and there are some things you can't change. So, I always try to tell people that don't dwell on what you cannot change, because if you like, cry from now till next year, eat all the food in the world, you can never grow to be 10 feet tall. So don't, except you're 10 feet tall already. Anyway, there are 10 feet tall people in your family. But if not, don't try to bother your head and sweat. It's what you can't change. However, focus on what you really can change. And from there, you'll be surprised how positive the impact you make and what you benefit from the process. Then just next step will be one quick set of recommendations for January. Like, okay, how do you do it? Because one of the things we also realize is that there's a lot of do this, but people don't profile suggested solutions, because it's one of the things I'm also battling with when I read a lot of stuff and people do this, do that, but nobody is really giving you steps, which I think is the most important part, like do this to achieve this. Then we'll touch briefly on our own plans as finance business partners for 2024, some of the things we've been tinkering with in terms of trying to change in 2024. We've had, and these are things driven by feedback. We've had different sessions, coaching sessions, events, different activities, engaging people, and some of the feedback we got is what we're trying to see if we can help add more value. Then we ended up with question and answer. So we dive straight into it. So the first thing is, what are the top world events of 2023? These are events that happened all over, but people don't realize that these are the events that effectively had a ripple effect on how our economy is in Nigeria and, where we are today. First of all, artificial intelligence became more dominant with generative AI. I mean, if you've never used ChatGPT or any of these AI tools, Google Bard, Microsoft Pilot, Midjourney, Pictory, Synthesia, any of them at all, I'm sorry to say, I don't know what cave you've been living in, because you are, how do I put it? You are 20 years behind. Let me just put it in simple English. If you've never tried to use any of this thing for anything, you need to get on the bandwagon fast, because this is the future and the future is starting. For some of us who monitor the international trends, I'm sure you probably would have heard about, there's a company called OpenAI. Is the owner of ChatGPT and a few other tools. I think DALL-E and a couple of them. There was some chaos that happened like 2 months ago. I think it's about two months ago. Why did I forget this guy's name? Their CEO. He was fired by the board. Then the whole team, about 700 people, decided that they're going to resign if they don't bring him back and all that. There was a lot of drama happening. And with that drama, we were exposed to what the company was going through. Even me, I was like, I need to go and learn how to become an AI engineer. The least paid in those companies earn about $300,000 every year. And that's base salary, excluding bonuses, excluding. So if you can earn $300,000 a year with something that is not even fully built, and you can imagine the possibilities of it in the future. And now I'm not saying, well, everybody should go and become an engineer and all that, but if you understand how it works, you understand how this can make your life easy. There was one of our mentorship sessions that we did. I showed people how to create their resume or even LinkedIn with ChatGPT. You can apply for jobs. You can almost guarantee what you get. You write emails. You can create pictures. You can create videos with Pictree.io, Synthesia.io. You have tools that you can merge together to GPT will create the text for you. You upload it to a Synthesia or whatever it is. They will create a video, and you can make a total video with just prompts, how to prompt. So the real skill there is how to prompt these tools to use it. So that became dominant in 2023. There you have what they call deep fakes and so many things. So it affected the way we do things, and a lot of people don't realize. It opened up a lot of opportunities to make money across the world. Another key thing that affected the world was Ukraine versus Russia war. Some of us might say, what is my business with that? But guess what? Ukraine is one of the largest exporters of wheat in the world. They've always been the largest. I think between them and Canada and even Russia also, they've been like the largest exporters of wheat. So guess what? When you're wondering why the price of your bread went up, that's where the problem is, because Ukraine has not been able to export as much as possible through the Black Sea because of their war. And if they are not exporting, countries who need these products, there will be some level of scarcity. So automatically, the laws of economics apply. Where supply is lower than demand, price goes up. So if you are wondering today why your price of bread went up and it's still sticking there up, it's not just exchange rate. It's this war going on in Ukraine and Russia. And nobody knows when it will end. But we're hoping that it ends very soon, and I don't know. Another one is Israel-Hamas that started recently and that is still ongoing. Israel-Hamas was started October, and it has polarized the world, and it's creating some very negative vibes generally, because apart from the fact that, everybody, a lot of us supported why, don't go attack people in their house and all that, but at the same time, a lot of us are feeling that retaliation is too much. And somebody pinch you, you slap the person once, it's okay now. Then after slapping, you are bringing knife, cutlass, there's a better way around it. You slap the person so the person will learn that the next time, let me not try this again. But when you take things like that too far, it becomes a different problem, and it's triggering a different issue. Where, for example, I think it was the Houthis in Yemen that were threatening that the route that people export oil and coal towards, they're going to start attacking vessels, and they did for a few days. If you're following the news, and that had its own major effect. Why? Because a vessel that should take 13 days to get to its destination, if they're now going to take a longer route, it will take about 31 days. And that's just the start. We don't know. Though the US has said, US, UK, and I think Canada, they've said, they're coming up with a security outfit to protect that channel. But hey, we only know the beginning of wars. Nobody ever knows how it ends. So the best way is just avoid it in totality. So it started, it's affecting the world, and we don't know what will happen again continuously next year. We are hoping that they find a quick way to solve it so that innocent kids and people stop dying, unfortunately. But if we cannot love each other as human beings, we won't have these issues. The next one, many of you may not know that the big economies were struggling. They struggled a lot with inflation, US, Canada, UK, and a couple of them. Inflation in Nigeria, because we are used to it, we don't really realize it. Everything goes up, we just adjust, shake body, add more money, and life goes up. These countries struggle when they have serious inflation, and the way their government handles it most times, they use monetary policies. Monetary policies includes increasing interest rates. And the interest rate increase is causing a lot of problems for them. They've been able to bring down inflation. So a quick dirty explanation of how that works is most developed economies, they are credit-based societies. So people don't have cash. Nigerians, we have money more than people living in the US, UK, and Canada. Take it from me. People living in those countries live their life on loans. You have credit card, all sorts of debt. So you borrow money for everything. You want to buy a car, you borrow money. You want to buy, in fact, people borrow money for vacation, chair in their living room, TV, and all sorts. So what the government does when they feel that, so when you have excess, when the interest rates are low and the banks are trying to force you to borrow more money, they entice you. And hey, you don't worry now because you pay over 20 years, 25 years. What's your problem? Maybe you pay small, you buy it and all that. But what that does is when there are too many people having access to loans, means too many people have access to cash. And when too many people have access to cash, it means the demands will increase in the market. So with increase in demand and sort of controlled supply, the people selling will increase their prices because this is a capitalist world, like it or not. I want to make more money. So that has been happening for the US, the UK, and Canada. And the country is afraid that, and that creates what you call inflation, where prices keep going up. So the country is trying to fix it by using monetary policy. And what's the easiest monetary policy to use? Increase interest rates by their central banks, either the Bank of Canada or US Treasury or the UK's So in doing that, so I can give you a typical scenario in Canada as a 2021, 2021, the average interest rate on the mortgage is about 1%, 1 to 1.5%. That's what you pay per annum, and you get to pay over 30 years. But as we speak, it has gone up to as high as 5 points or 6 point something percent. In Nigeria, we don't know because our own inflation is permanently 27-30%, so we don't bother. But when you live in these countries, the effect of that increment in interest rates is really creating a serious pain for people. Now it's understandable because people are stuck in all sorts of debts. I know people who borrow for vacation. I'm going to Mexico, I'm going to Spain. They'll take a credit card, they'll spend it, and you pay over time. Nobody bothers you about those things. There's what you call minimum payment. As long as you are doing your minimum payments, $10 every month, the bank doesn't care. Just keep paying basic forever and ever. You're fine. So these countries have been struggling with this inflation seriously. Like if you read about even the US, it's one of the biggest things. Like cost of people are becoming. I mean, it's so bad that people are becoming homeless. I can tell you that for free. Like because when your income cannot even afford to pay rent in New York, for example, I think the average rent is about $4,000 a month. The average salary people make is just around that 4,000 or a little lower. So even your whole money cannot even pay rent, not to talk of food and everything. So what people typically do is they have an okay car, they live in their vehicles. So there are places you can go and park. There are plenty of people like them that can't even pay their rent. You park there, you sleep in your car, you wake up, you pay $50 a month for gym. You go to the gym, act like you're exercising. You can use their shower, you put it in the gym. They have, most gyms also have laundry machine. So you just do your laundry there. So a lot of people are living like this, but people don't realize it globally. And these are guys that even have 2 jobs in some instances. You're wondering but because inflation is so bad that things are so expensive, rent, you can't even afford to pay your own house rent. In the US, or not Nigeria, I'm talking of US, Canada, UK, where you think that life is sweet. So these countries are battling with that. But the US have been able to bring it down, with the increase in interest rates and things like that. They forced a lot of, because now when people don't have access to more loans, the sellers are forced to bring down the prices. But it'll take some time for everything to stabilize. So those are some of the things affecting them. Fluctuation in oil prices. This is a no-brainer. We know that Ukraine war and Russia is affecting that one. US has their own side to it. Saudi and the OPEC team, they have their own side. So it's there. Most companies exiting full remote opportunities to favor a more hybrid model. Companies across the world are now exiting remote. There are still some, but a lot of governments are forcing organizations abroad to exit remote. Yeah, you might say as employees, why now? It's not good, it's not good. But for the economy of most of these countries, the remote work model is killing them. And what do I mean? In most advanced countries, you have big commercial real estate, big offices, big everything being empty. Guess what? These real estate properties are on credit too. Nobody, if you know anything about the developed countries, nobody ever buys any house or anything with cash. That's where we even get $1 million to buy car, to buy house. So it's on credit. So these big offices, the owners are paying mortgage to the banks, but they are empty. So because of that, they can't even pay taxes. Because of that, people who are in cleaning businesses are losing their jobs. So many employment chaos is happening. Things are being skewed. So the government is trying to engage some of these business owners that go from full remote to hybrid, so that they'll be forced to rent some of these properties. And when they are forced to rent some of these properties, they keep that real estate economy back alive. So it's happening a lot. And, some of these big men across the world, your billionaires, that's where they have their money in real estate. And they are the ones who finance elections, not me and you that have kobo in our pockets. So they are able to influence the politicians that they finance to say, hey, we need you to enforce this. So it's happening gradually. And before because guess what? 2020, everybody was acting like COVID is the end of the world. Today, then at 2021, a lot of companies are celebrating, man, it was the best thing. Like, nobody even knew that remote is better, it's saving them costs. But now, if you look online everywhere, companies are like trying to bring people back to the office. I'm wondering what is the benefit of it, but hey, it's an idea I've given you. Pretty much most of these big men are in real estate, so they control the world, so they can get what they want. Cost of living and housing crisis globally. It's the same thing. What you think you're facing in Nigeria in terms of cost of living, going up, rent going up, food, transport, I guarantee is everywhere in the world. The only thing that is not going up in other parts of the world is transport, because it is heavily subsidized. Most countries have heavily subsidized transport systems. So government is able to manage that. Unlike our own Nigeria, that everybody is still subsidy money. It is. But in terms of rent, man, it's insane. In terms of food, it's not funny at all. Ask anybody, if you have anybody in any of these developed countries, they'll tell you like, more this one. And the most painful part is going up, they'll not add tax again. Like, you're wondering, bad enough that I'm paying something that I shouldn't be paying. They are now adding tax again. Government is adding salt to the injury to make it painful and all that. But it's the reality of the world. Then another major thing is the global migration crisis. Believe me, people think that, especially when you're in Nigeria, we are Japan, but it's funny. It's funny because everybody's Japan all over the world. I was reading a study last week. No, it was this week that we are just finishing, that Canada welcomes about 400,000 immigrants every year, and they are losing immigrants and their people. As a matter of fact, Q3 2023 is the highest they've lost. I think they lost about 37,000 people left Canada, which is interesting. You wonder, the same Canada that I'm dreaming to go to, I want to be there. About 37K people left. Which, yeah, there is normal net migration. People will come, people will go, because that's how life is. We are human beings. We are born to always look for a better place for us to live. But it's increasing in an alarming rate too for them, and it's becoming a reality, and everybody is starting to notice that what is going on. So many reasons around it. So many reasons. Sometimes you realize that the promise you get when you get to where you jackpot is not what you expect. Yeah, there's always I'm getting away from my real life. By the time you get there, after 6 months or 1 year, you are no longer in that real life. You are now in a new real life that's like, is this all it is? Start to ask yourself a question. But the reality is, everybody is jackpotting. So imagine Canadians who jackpot into other places, and it's expected. I think it's even in the Bible, in the Quran, everywhere. Like, you have people moving. So for me, it's a good thing. That way, it probably will help us shape our mindset and mentality. And guess what? India became the most populous country in the world. Most people don't realize it. India has now passed China in having over 1 billion people in the country as citizens. So there's a running joke in Canada that there's a place in Canada, I think Brampton, Ontario. They call it Little India, meaning that if you are there, you think you're in India. So if you think you know Nigerians are jackpine, guess what? Nigerians percentage living is not even anywhere near Indians. I can tell you for free. You like, in fact, if you go to Walmart, most Walmart stores are filled with Indians like working there. You'll be wondering, am I in India or am I in, US or am I in Canada? So it's an interesting. These are some of the key things that impacted on 2023 that effectively trickled down to how the world was shaped. Then a brief look at the 2024 outlook. Just top things that I believe will affect the world. The first one is US presidential elections is going to hold sometime, I think, in October. This is a big one. People don't realize it's a big one because you are dealing with two extremists. Biden is a more liberal person who believes in immigration, who believes in, a liberal politician who understands world peace and things like that. He's willing to fund Ukraine, just to make sure that Russia doesn't crush them. Trump, on the other side, is the opposite. I guarantee you one thing. When Trump becomes president, or if he becomes president, he's going to stop funding Ukraine. And if he stops funding Ukraine, Russia will take over. Now, you might ask yourself, what is your business if Russia takes over Ukraine? Like, in Nigeria, it doesn't concern you. You have your own war, people killed in Jos and all that. But I mentioned earlier, Ukraine is one of the largest producers of food, wheat. Russia is already controlling a huge chunk of the European economy. Why? Because Russian gas is what heats up Europe. So he can switch it off, which is what he did sometime, I think early this year, was it last year? He switched off the gas to there. So there was that fear of, hey, winter is coming and all that. Then what did the Europeans do? Europeans tried to see if they can get gas. These are crude oil we're selling from Africa and a few other places. As a matter of fact, I think there's a pipeline currently being built that's going to run through Nigeria, through Niger to Europe to make ease of supply of gas. But guess what? People don't realize that the Niger coup has Russia's hand in it. There's that theory. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to speculate, but I've read around that Russia also has a hand in that. So what that automatically means that you cannot build that pipeline to go to Europe, which means, and if you notice it, there's a trend that all the coup plots that has been happening in the French-speaking part of Africa, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and co. There's been Russia hand there, which is the Wagner Group. So technically what that means is if he's able to control those people, he can control the world and determine how certain things will happen. And that control is a major problem, whether you like it or not. It's a major problem because it will affect the way the world is. And if it affects the way the world is, so it's important to have someone like a Biden. You might not like him, but he's more liberal in his ways. Is more, global balance versus someone like a Trump who is a capitalist to the core. The only thing in his head is America first. So if the conversation is not benefiting America first, forget it. So this is going to be real interesting to watch. And all this COP28, whatever you're thinking that benefits the world, once Trump comes in, at least we saw it in his first time. The only thing he focused on was making America first, which is perfect for the American economy because, believe me, they need it. It created more jobs, it created more opportunities. But for the rest of the world, it's a bit different. So, and I don't think this might be the best time to have such a disruption. Yeah. Biden may not be the best, but, by the end of the day, look, it's a country. We don't have a say. We're just watching. Because they both have two different extreme policies. So it's something that will affect the world. The next is Russia's presidential election. It's coming soon. I mean, we know it's going to win again. I think it's around March next year. We know Putin because his biggest rival, Navalny, or what's that guy's name, has been in prison now for some trumped up, stories. He's there. As a matter of fact, they moved him to one extreme part of the country whereby even his supporters will not be able to hear from him. So the whole idea is that's Biden's, that's Putin style, crush your enemies. He's former KGB, special forces and all that. So he doesn't have that being nice to him. So we know definitely he's gonna win. The next one is there's gonna be a global recession. It's been predicted by analysts. They were expecting that to start end of this year before, but it's been pushed. We don't know when it will happen, but it will happen next year. Recession is when economic growth is negative. The economies of the world are not growing, because it typically happens when you have this inflation crisis and trying to bring it down. Because now government has increased interest rates in different countries. People are forced to save more, not buy. Prices of everything has gone down. And for businesses to survive, for example, businesses that live on credit, it's a ripple effect. My customers have money, they buy more. When they buy more from me, I make more money. When I make more money, I try to expand. I hire more people. I pay more government taxes. But the government increases interest rates, my customer cannot buy more. They start to buy less, which is recession in my business. My sales drop. When my sales drop, I automatically struggle with paying my loans. And when I struggle with paying my loans, I look in what to cut my expenses. Once I cut my expenses, where's the first place to go? It's my people. I'm going to let go people that I feel that, okay, I still need to be in business. So I'm going to have to fire a couple of people to be able to stabilize, to meet with the reality. So it will effectively lead to a recession, because everybody's going to be careful, from next year. So mind how you spend your money. Don't buy dumb stuff. That's the whole advice. Global migration crisis will continue, because there's still uneven situations in the world. People will keep traveling. People will keep jackpotting. UK came up with the spousal policy where students from this January will not be able to bring their family and all that. In my mind, I'm laughing. Look, there are some things that you can't stop, especially the real reason behind migration is that where I'm coming from is worse than where I'm going. It's a natural law of survival to always go where you want to go, no matter the pain, no matter the stress. You will always go to where life seems better for you. So it will continue. That's why you watch every day people trying to go through Libya, all those kind of situations. And guess what? It's even worse. They make us look like Africans are the worst in terms of migration. You need to see what South Americans are doing at the US border. Do a bit of reading around here and you realize that we were not even Japan. All those Latin or Spanish-speaking South American countries, they are like, in fact, they are living on the streets in Chicago and a couple of other cities in the US right now, because they are migrating, and they realize that if Trump wins, that will not happen. So a lot of people are using the opportunity to run into it. So we'll still have that issue. Possibility of food shortages globally. It's a problem. Currently, the countries that experience extreme cold, like Canada, for example, it's not been that cold this year. So there's the fear that crop production, Canada also produces wheat. I think it's also the second or the fourth largest producer of wheat in the world. So if the cold and the snow doesn't stay for long, there's not enough water to, help the plants. And if there's not enough water to help the plants, the harvest is supposed to be as horrible as possible. That's the truth this year. So then with the wars happening all over the place, South Sudan, look at what is happening in Nigeria, Jos, which is like Jos, Benue, that are like food baskets. Northern Nigeria, farmers are having a hard time. So there's a lot of problems happening globally. So there's the possibility of the issue around food shortages. So we're going to be careful with that. Generative AI, boom, it's going to be more improved. So like I said earlier, if you've never used ChatGPT or any of it, I beg you, go and try it out. You'll be surprised how people make books, people make YouTube channels and are earning money from using it. It's very interesting, but I guarantee you that people are using it to make money. Faceless videos and all that stuff. Then EV. This is one I've been monitoring lately and it's been very interesting. Electric vehicles are gradually taking over the world. In fact, there are some countries that have regulations that support electric vehicle. That as a matter of fact, I think some European countries by 2032, 2035, they don't want to see petrol cars or diesel cars anymore. It's purely going to be electric vehicle. And when they say electric vehicle, all we talk about is Tesla, Tesla, Tesla. A lot of people don't know about this Chinese BYD. Chinese BYD is giving Tesla a run for the money. I think it's one of the electric vehicle companies that made top 10 in terms of sales this year. And the fact they are, Tesla has been making a lot of noise about autonomous driving vehicles, which is vehicles that drive itself. It's in there in China, in a couple of places that you see vehicles without a driver in it. And in fact, I think there's one city in Japan that they use it currently, except that their buses just go in, it takes you to wherever you're going, and no human being in it. So China is really taking on the world on this. And Chinese people now, when they are after something, it's only God that can stop them. And one of the target is to be able to produce EVs that will be sold for $5,000. And I'm like, what? Imagine buying a brand new car that looks like a Porsche or a Ferrari for $5,000. It might look like it's a lot of money, but believe me, it's not a lot of money considering when even the average Tesla goes from around $35,000 or $40,000. That's like the lowest, the entry level vehicle pricing. Now somebody wants to sell the same type of car with autonomous driving and everything features for $5,000. So we'll see how that plays out. Now let's look at Nigeria. Leave the world for a while. So Nigeria, a couple of things shaped Nigeria in 2023. The first one was the elections. We all saw the elections. People are excited, fired up, and everybody blames INEC. Oh, blames APC. Oh, blames this. I'm always in my corner with my opposite view to say, hey, I don't blame APC. I don't blame APC. I don't blame INEC. I blame us because I was having a conversation with someone yesterday. This is it. I'm a realist. I don't think I saw in any video where a politician snatched any ballot box. I don't think I saw any video where a politician altered any documents. I don't think I saw any video where a politician uploaded a picture into Iron. The people who are doing these things are my brothers and sisters, just like me and you. They're people we know, in our family, friends, for their own selfish interest, collect 50K, 100K, whatever they get to manipulate stuff to destroy their own future. So we can spend all the energy and effort blaming the politicians, but if we don't face reality and say, come, it's my brothers and sisters that we need to start fighting. Like, come, why did you go there and rig election? We saw all the videos of people manipulating left and right, and it creates a mockery of the whole election because reality is everybody rigged, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, every single political party politician, because that's what politics are. I don't blame them. Why? Because it's like saying a doctor is good at his job or an accountant is good at her job, or, politicians have to be good at their job. What is the job of a politician? Win elections, whatever it takes. The same way accountants stay beyond 5 o'clock to stay till midnight that this report must come out. That's the same way politicians should stay that we must win election. So if we really want to fix it, we need to stop facing politicians because we can't change anything. And start facing our brothers and sisters who we know that come. They are the one that went to do INEC stuff. I saw one video of one lady in Kogi State that was caught with 1 million naira NYSC, on like, come on. Somebody needed to have educated her that come. You are using 1 million naira to sell your future. But we are easy to attack the politicians that we can't do anything to. So it's a very messed up year because the elections, rather than bring us together, brought out the tribalistic poison in everybody, the religious poison in everybody and all that. So we started fighting each other rather than fight the realities, forgetting that we all suffer the same pain. We all go through the same hunger. We all go through the same, our money being useless. So I hope we learn from that. But it's something we can't forget when we mention 2023. Removal of subsidy, we can never forget that because it tripled the cost of everything. People's pain increased and all that. Unfortunately, like everybody always argues to that, but people are silent about it, that all aspirants said they will remove it. Like I said, I'm an opposite person. I disagree with removal of subsidy because I don't think it's the wisest thing anybody can ever do. Why? Because you claim that the subsidies are going to some people's pockets. That means it's big enough and visible enough. But I'm not sure I've ever read any news or anything anywhere where anybody ever mentioned the name of one or two of those people. Till today, we don't know those people, but we know that the subsidies, trillions of naira is going to those people's pockets. So who are those people? Are they spirits? So isn't it better to fight those people than remove subsidy? But like I said, I'm an opposite person. I think differently. Big companies are exiting. Cost of doing business, and it's a tough terrain. We all understand this as accountants or finance people, because if you are running a business, there's always, especially if you're a big company, you have comparatives across different cities or different countries. So you are looking at yourself that, okay, does it make more sense to run this model of having a physical presence there, or import/export model? And that's what's happening to most of these companies. They are struggling because of, one, the cost of running their businesses, two, the exchange rate issue. Even if I bring in $1 today, I bring in $1. I can give a typical scenario, personal experience. So I moved my family to Canada in 2022, with the hope of just being there 3 months and come back. And when I moved, the exchange rate for Canadian dollar was about 320 to a naira. With a Nigerian job of maybe 1.5 million a month, 1.6, you'll be very fine. You can run a family in 2 countries. That was 2022, just last year. As we speak, it's about 900 naira to a Canadian dollar, which is 3x, what it is. So what that means is, there's no way I can live in Nigeria and run a family out there, because that's just that. I don't know where the exchange rate will stabilize, because the problem pushing the exchange rate is still there. It's a problem of supply. There's no magic. There's no hatred. There's nothing to it. There's more demand than supply, which is pure economics. And as long as there's more demand than supply, we'll keep having this issue of it getting down, because Nigeria is an import-oriented country, meaning that when you buy, you still need FX to settle the person you're buying from. Where we used to get most FX is through oil, export of oil and a couple of other things. But the government's argument is that we are not making enough money from oil, because when we export it, we use proceeds to pay for subsidized fuel. So some net off. So those actual dollars don't really come in. Then two, we've not been producing. We're supposed to get, I think, 2.2 million barrels per day. That's our limit from OPEC. And probably the best we've ever done is like 1.5 million barrels per day. So it's been a problem of getting that supply, because we don't produce anything that we send to other clients, other countries. So it's still gonna get worse. So that's why some of these companies are leaving. They bring in dollars. Another example, I borrowed someone money, 500K around, it was around January this year. I remember I took $1,000, changed it to 500K. If the person is going to pay me back today, I'm going to be getting back about $600. So even if I'm investing that money at even 1%, it's better to invest the money than to have borrowed the person. Because if I took $1,000, change it at 500K in January, and the person decides to pay me back today at December 31st, and is paying me back at rate of 900 naira, what will be giving me $600, because I didn't hedge. I borrowed him in naira. So a lot of, and this is one factor that people also need to understand when we are looking for foreign investors. Money goes to where it's appreciated and it's allowed to grow. The way the outlook of Nigeria is that your money keeps going down. Investors are not Father Christmas. There are 2 types of investors. There are portfolio investors, and there are the infrastructure investors that they call them. Portfolio investors are people who bring in money in briefcase, make a quick kill, and leave. Their money is good because it's there. You can always get them to come and go, and 2, 3, 5 years, they're good. But infrastructure investors are people who put in investment for a long term. Like, okay, 10 years, 20 years, just like what Dangote is doing. It will take me 20 years to build this thing, but I know that at first 20 years to build, the next 30 to 40 years, I'll make my money back. So it's a 50-year game in that country. But it's difficult to get those kind of people on board when you have big guys like this leaving. For example, Unilever, PZ. These are people that have been in the country before I was born. These are organizations that have done 50, 60 years. These are guys that are around. And for them to up and leave, it sends the wrong signal. So I don't know what Nigeria needs to do to help them to stay, but I would, I mean, I don't know, because someone told me that inhaler, a friend of mine who's asthmatic, inhaler, like 1,000 plus before that they buy is around 10K now. Then there's this particular medicine they buy for like 7 or 8K before per month. They say it's like 50K now because the producers are leaving. So it's now import oriented. So these are things that affect you on a day to day, but you may not notice it, but because it's a trickle effect. If my cost of survival is higher and I'm providing a service to you, I'll naturally increase my price to make sure I can survive. And that price I'm increasing will get to you. You also increase your price. The only people who suffer are employees because your salary cannot be increased beyond what it is. If you force your employer to increase your salary, the employer will be forced to sack people. Because guess what? The employer too is not generating enough revenue. The economy is the way it is. So we're just praying for the best. But these are realities of 2023 that's, like it or not, is impacting us and will impact 2024. The dollar crash, that's a no-brainer. 700 to 1,200. I don't know how to explain this one, but it was a horrible decision to say you free float the naira. We all know, but it has happened. It has happened until we start to, you don't free float a currency you can't defend, unfortunately. So, and the currency that is, uneven in the market, there's little supply command, Unfortunately, a lot of people in Nigeria also invest in dollars. And I think that's the part that government also missed. A lot of people don't keep their money in naira. So you are creating more problem trying to free float it when it's an investment tool. You can't have this in a decent country, because, there are controls around those things. So it affected us, like it or not. Japa, for the ones that can afford it, they are doing it. It's expensive now. I tell people, and it's funny. When I wanted to leave, my whole cost and everything that I put together, that I spent on the whole process, I think it cost me about 12 million naira. 12 million naira then, if I was to calculate it, I spent about 12 million naira was maybe about 30, 40K. Today, imagine converting 30, 40K dollars to living now. I'm sure you know that it's not possible. That's almost like 50 million. In this economy, where would you get that? So for the ones that can still jackpot, I hail you. You're trying. It's not beans. To be honest, it's no joke. It's expensive. But if you can do it, if you can't, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. The next one, Dangote, the good sides of things. Dangote refinery is coming into operations. People don't know the impact of this, but it's big. It's not a Nigerian business. Yes, Nigeria has business investment in it, but hey, it's not. It has the capacity of creating about 135,000 jobs because we are going to be producing, or more like he's going to be producing and exporting to other African countries. It doesn't mean the price of oil will come down. Don't lie to yourself. Simple analysis. It has a 650K barrel per day production capacity. Nigeria produces maybe about 1.5 to 1.6 million barrels per day. Obviously, Nigeria cannot supply him. So which means he has to go into the international market to buy. He will get some from Nigeria, but he will eventually go into the international market to buy. If he goes into international market to buy, he'll be buying in dollars. If he buys in dollars, he'll be affected by exchange rate problem you and I have. So he will have to price it into his selling price too. So anybody expecting it to bring down the price of fuel, it's not going to bring it down by a dime. The only thing is to create some availability because now you now have a local refiner who, in case maybe there's a global scarcity, can also supply locally. So that's the plus side of it. And at the same time, to create about 135,000 jobs. That's the estimated number he had when he was starting. So, and I think it will be more than that because that's official. You have a whole vibrant community is going to come alive in that part of Lagos. And, other services, people with properties, their property value will go up, people providing services. So a lot more will be created. So it's a very, very big plus, at least. It started, so hopefully next year it will go into full stream and we'll get the benefits. Port Harcourt Refinery also. Port Harcourt Refinery is also, I think they're testing it right now. It's back on its feet. I'm a bit of a pessimist about it, but I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it will start to produce oil. But what has been done is they've fitted the new parts and equipment in there to make it work, but the capacity is low and everything. But I think at this point, if we can, anything we can get, we need it. Like anything that will positively impact the supply, it's necessary. We need to have it. So these are some of the key things that affected 2023. There are a ton of other things: the killings, the political change, the gymnastics happening in different countries and all that. But different cities and all that. But for me, I think these are some of the ones I'd like to pick out that affects my numbers every time I look at it. So enough with that. So let's look at the outlook for 2024. First, government is to be more aggressive in taxes. So for some of you who are always wondering, we have a 30, is it 30, I forgot, 30 something trillion, 37 trillion naira budget. 27 trillion rather. Out of it, the government is going to generate 18 trillion from its regular revenue. So there's going to be a 9 trillion deficit, meaning that you are going to spend more than you earn, which means that we're going to borrow and borrow locally and internationally. Local borrowing is not bad because it has lower impacts on repayment versus foreign borrowing. Because foreign borrowing US dollars, paying back is a problem because it eats into whatever revenue the country has. So, but guess what? Taxes, you're going to face it. I've experienced tax investigation, and people who have been through that process know it's not the nicest thing to experience. So the government has to fund the economy and fund its extravagant life, whether I like it or not. All those Jeep they are buying, all those free travel that people are doing every 50% off, all those for 5 billion to state governments, it has to be paid for in a certain way next year. So expect that and pray for your employers. That's what I'll say, because some of your employers, if they were to sit down and use the tax hammer on them, they won't survive. And if your employer doesn't survive, you'll be jobless. Let's be very clear on that. So pray for them. Any way you can help, please help. But it's going to be a tough year. That's just the simple English to it. Good side, I said they're going to provide loans to students by next year. So to help, improve the educational system, because school fees have gone up. But I would have preferred grants, but unfortunately, governments are not the one who's supposed to give grants. It's private companies. But rather than companies give grants these days, what you see is companies flaunting it, buying private jet, flexing. It's their money, so you can't tell them what to do with their money. But we just hope and beg. If you have any uncle, if you are related to Tony Elumelu, Jimovia and co, the big boys, they should help us give grants to students. That's what they do in advanced countries. You have all these guys having grants, and that's how education is expensive, but they are able to fund it through all these grants and all that. GDP is expected to grow by 2.9%. You will never understand this, so don't even bother ahead. I'm not the biggest fan of Nigerian data when it comes to things, because the poverty level is increasing, like it or not. And I think we always play around in Nigeria with data because we want to skew things, but not realizing that the more you put the real data out there, the more it will help the society. So it's very important that the NBS, they're trying, to be honest, because it's not easy to get data in Nigeria. But if you know the truth, you will help yourself. In simple summary, 2024 will be a tough and deciding year. So brace yourself for more toughness. Unfortunately, it's not just Nigeria. It's everywhere. Believe me, it's not a Nigerian problem. Everywhere in the world is feeling the pain right now. Like it's crazy. I don't know how to explain it, but I just believe that somehow we'll survive. So, to the crux of today's conversation, we've talked of good, the doom, and all that worry. But look, if you understand entrepreneurship, you understand survival. You understand that in every challenge is where you have the opportunities. And, I dug deep to say, okay, hey, what could be, a positive out of this situation? FX exchange rate going up, yada, 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 all those kind of problems. Is it the end of the world, and all that. And I saw a couple of opportunities that I feel that people can leverage on. And in unlocking those opportunities, we need to take cognizance of a couple of things. And the first one is this, your mindset. And I think for me, this is the biggest thing I always tell people in any situation, that if you have a wrong mindset, you can never change anything. So you can always see a problem everywhere you go, or you see an opportunity everywhere you go. I give you a typical scenario. I've spoken to different people in terms of this exchange rate thing. Everybody, dollar is expensive, wants to kill me. But guess what? I have friends who are doing FX, and I can tell you they are making a kill. Like, a friend of mine just told me that, man, is not even looking forward to the Naira getting better, because he's into FX trading. He's earning in money in dollars. So imagine you complaining. Imagine you complaining that, okay, dollar is expensive. He's not complaining, because now what that means is, for every dollar invested at 700 Naira earlier this year, if he's selling it, he's getting back 1,200 Naira, which is, you might say inflation, but forget, like it or not, he's making more money than he would have. That's almost 40% margin in just 1 year. No business or investing that you put and make that kind of money. So, but to change anything, first thing is you need to change your mindset. You need to develop yourself. I'm also trying to figure out how to generate extra cash for myself and other things. And I have so many opportunities, so many skills, so many things that I know that if I stick my hand to, I can generate quick money. But I have the wrong mindset too. And I've been reading a couple of books around mindsets, to help you, and watching a couple of people and realizing that you can make the effort to make extra money, but if you don't have a major change in your mindset, you won't make any money. So that's the first thing you need to do. Don't see problems, see opportunities. Complain less. Focus on what you can change, not what you can't change. The government is destroying the country. The government is, so what? What can you do about it? You can't do anything about it. FX is high. I just gave you an example. You can make money. So first is you need to work on that. Change your mindset. You need to keep changing your mind. Stop seeing challenges. Everybody is going through a lot everywhere in the world. So if you think that it's just you, believe me, you are not being practical. It's the same problem all over the world. The second thing is upskill to monetize. I see this a lot. A lot of people don't have any extra skill that they can generate money with. A lot of people, the only skill you have is skill to get a job. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having a job. It's a good thing. It guarantees you cash flow. But if I ask you how to make extra money, you don't know. You don't have a clue, because you don't have this right skill set. I just give you somebody who is into FX. That's a skill set. You and I can't jump into it. I've tried it before and I lost all my money in FX because I did not upskill. I was thinking it was easy. It's just to buy low, sell high, make a margin, simple English. But not realizing there are certain factors that drive when to buy or when to sell, and how to identify those factors. I didn't upskill. I was trying to read and figure it out myself, rather than pay someone to teach me. People who are experts that would have saved me that money. I lost more than I would have paid the person to teach me, So, I encourage you, look for skills that can help generate money. If it's online training, whatever it is, pay for it. Don't look for free, because sometimes those free might be traps. Don't get me wrong, free is good, but free might take your time. If you're not somebody who is patient enough and disciplined enough to see it through, to learn free, you will struggle. Because from my experience, I've learned a lot of things for free, and I realized that it takes a lot of effort and time and discipline to be able to learn those things. Recently, I was learning how to create YouTube shorts, and I found that I found a couple of AI, like using ChatGPT plus Canva. I could create a whole year of content in just one day. It took me 2.5 to 3 weeks to figure it out. So, of consistently studying at least 2 hours every day, reading, seeing all sorts of distraction. Everybody's an expert. You go through what they write is crap. So it's that discipline. But there are people who will charge you money to show you in less than 1 hour, and they will even show you how to monetize and make money from it. And you make the same money, you make your money back. So I always tell people, focus on what you will get. Don't ask the question, why is it expensive, or how much is it? The question you should always ask is, what am I getting back? What's the value of what I'm getting? Is it worth more than what I'm paying? Then if it's worth more than what you're paying, pay the money, don't bother your head. The next one is learn to collaborate more. I think this is a problem we all have, because we all grew up in isolated worlds. In school, they tell you to do exams alone. You do alone, you stretch your neck to look at somebody's book, they want to kill you. As if you are an olodo. In the real world, it's the opposite. The people who succeed are people who collaborate. If you look at the music world today, you see that today, if Wizkid is not featuring Burna Boy is featuring Davido, everybody is collaborating. They're bringing themselves together to use their own crowd, to hit the market more. Look at the skit world. If you are not seeing macaroni in Brother Shaggy's stuff, you are seeing Wos in what do you call it, Brain Jotter. It's all about collaboration. They might as well decide to make their own skit alone. But if you all come together, you use each other's crowd, each other's knowledge, each other's expertise to create something bigger, and everybody will make money and everybody will do better with that. I'm a big fan of collaboration. If you know me very well, I don't believe in doing things alone. I believe in partnership. Unfortunately, when people come, there's always that feeling that they want to come and steal my idea. Yeah, they want to come and do this. Look, there's no idea you have that is not there out there. You're just deceiving yourself. The only difference is execution. The people who win are not the people who have the ideas. It's the people who know how to execute it very well. And it's the people who know how to make all the noise and let people think. I've seen people who don't have a tiny fraction of knowledge of what I have, and they are selling that thing. And sometimes when I open it, I always shake my head like, "Kai, now this is a scam." About the mindset thing. And so somebody told me that it's not a scam. That you are the one not selling what you know. They are doing what they know. They are not telling you they'll make you experts, but they are using their skill to add value. They don't have to add the whole value from end to end in the whole chain. But even if it's 10% value they can add, it's enough. So learn to collaborate more, learn to work more. We at Finance Business Partner, that's what we try to do. Bring people of, come, how do we fix all these things? So it's one of the key things you need to develop yourself on. Think global. This is big for me. It is big for me because I think it's one area that people need to focus on. I'll give you a typical scenario. There's an African store somewhere in Canada that we bought chin chin. Very tasty, nice chin chin, donkwa, and things like that. And they are selling it for $5. So I just asked the lady, "Come, this your stuff is really Nigerian. How do you get it?" And guess what the lady told me? I was shocked. She said, "My sister in Nigeria produces it and sends it." So I'm asking myself, man, this is creativity in its best form. Because before I left that shop, she would have sold at least 10. Yeah, because I bought like 2 and I know a couple of other people bought. So she sold like 10. And she's selling it for $5. That's $50, right? Now imagine this chin, I don't think if you buy it in Nigeria, you buy more than 150 or 200. It's a small pack, nothing very small pack like that, or nothing big. But in my head, I'm thinking to myself, this is pure creativity. This person produces in Nigeria. It can't probably sell more than 200-300 in Nigeria if you're lucky. Exports it to Canada. Your shipping cost, everything cannot cost you maybe more than, let's even put it with production, everything. Let's even give you the worst case scenario. You spend 1,000 naira or 1,005, which I know it can never be. And you sell it for $5. $5, you convert $5 to naira, that's like 5K. So that's a margin of 3,500. Even if she shares it, even if she's making a margin of 2,000 naira on a single one, now multiply that by 100. Or even in that picture that I just painted, multiply 2,000 by 10. That's 20K. In just one, and this was like a span of 30 minutes that I was there for. She's made 20K for just being creative, thinking global, not thinking that I can sell my chin-chin in traffic, I can sell my chin-chin in the shop. She's thinking, I have a sister who lives in Canada that if I can get her to help me sell this there, we'll make money together. I'm making this. And so I'm imagining that probably in a month, because she makes it very well. And if you have anybody who lives abroad, they'll tell you one of the things you miss most is your Nigerian food, your Nigerian stuff. The chicken doesn't taste the same. Nothing tastes the same. So when you have an opportunity to see what you love, you pay a premium. Guinness malts, right? We buy Guinness malts, that can, for $5. La Casera that you buy in traffic for, I don't know, maybe 100 or 150 now, we buy it for $5. Just that tiny bottle. So it gives you an idea of how big the market is out there. So if you keep thinking, I want to buy La Casera and open one shop in one corner, versus thinking, I have somebody abroad that can we partner and we make money together, and you worry about getting it there in terms of shipping it across. you'll see that thinking globally, you make more money. And the same thing I'm talking about, you have other services too. There's a friend of mine that I spoke to recently. He's trying to start something. He does websites and does all these things. He uses Fiverr, Upwork, and all that. Those ones are tricky to generate revenue because there are a lot of sellers on that platform. But what he was telling me he's doing is this. He has a cousin who lives also in Canada. His cousin registered a company, small business. So he's using his cousin's presence in Canada to look for a job. He's building a website. I think he's done now. He's selling that business that can help you build a website. Maybe other people are charging $1,000. He's charging $100 to build a website, or $200. Something small, way off what the normal market's charging. And he's able to do it. Why? Because he has a cousin in Canada who has a company. So if they are asking, send us bank details to pay to, it's not sending them Nigerian bank details where they'll be afraid, Yahoo. He's sending them his cousin's company in Canada who gets paid, takes a commission, and sends everything to the guy in Nigeria. Now imagine building 10 websites in a month at $200 each. That's $2,000. So let's even say he shares his half to his cousin. Even if it's $1,000 he's making in a month, and I'm not talking Canadian, I'm talking US dollars here. That's what the guy does. Even if it's $1,000 US a month, that's 1.2 million. Sitting in Lagos, in his room, making that money. Why? Because he's thinking globally. He's not thinking, let me go and look for somebody to do website for in Oshodi. Those ones will make your life a living hell with just 50K they want to pay you, or somebody, you go through a lot of hell. So the bottom line there is this. When you're thinking of extra ways to make cash, don't just think within your small space that I can be driving Uber. Those are things you make money from, but think global, think big. What is a problem in a different part of the world that if I can solve, I can generate FX and, help my life. And guess what? You will be happy the Naira is weak to the dollar in that situation. That's the funniest one. That's why I was talking about mindset. Because then imagine, I just mentioned the $100. Somebody just set up something. Another one, like this one is even funny. She just set up a community. She's based in Nigeria. She set up a community for people who want accountability, right? In Canada and the US. She's charging them $100 a year. Somebody in the US and Canada, $100 is not a big deal. She's charging $100. And she's telling me that she's almost clocking 100 members, paying her just $100. Now imagine $100 times $100 in Naira, that's about 100K, or, what am I saying? Yeah, about 100 and some 120K times 100 people, that's about 12 million in just sitting down in one place in Nigeria. So she's being creative, using technology, doing a lot of things, So all these things, and there are tools that help you collect this money. If you have Stripe, if you have PayPal, you can collect all these monies without even being abroad, and nobody will know. So these are opportunities I'm giving you. But the bottom line, if you have the wrong mindset of is always problem, I cannot come and survive, or this country is too hard, or you have yourself to blame for that. So if you think, hey, these are opportunities, what can I solve in a different country to export and bring in money? Because you have the skill. That's the reality. So think global. I'm very big on that for people. If you want to talk, think really global. The next thing is your network is your net worth. If you sit around useless people, guess what? You're a useless person. Don't lie to yourself. If you sit around people who spend all the time complaining, guess what? The only thing you're going to see is problems and complaint. If you sit around people who make things happen, things will start to happen for you. It's a simple law of life. I didn't make it. It's just the reality. So if you are in the wrong circle, find the right circle. You are not a furniture. Spend time to find the right circle. Do the right thing. Change your life. I just gave you an example. I don't know how that person of the Chin Chin thought about it. I don't know how the guy of the website thought about it. I don't know how the person on the WhatsApp thing thought about it. But because I'm able to be in the midst of people who think differently, I'm able to see opportunities where I never knew opportunities existed. Because in my wildest imagination, I can't imagine exporting Chin Chin. Or in my wildest imagination, I can't imagine somebody building something from Nigeria and, but because I put myself in situations where I'm around those kind of people, I'm able to see how they think and how they are making money. So very important. Build the right network. Stop wasting time with people that only talk of drinking beer or catching fun. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. Have fun. Life is about fun. But at the same time, life is not only about fun. So build the right network. All through in Nigeria, the only job I ever applied for was my first job, which was PwC. Since every other job I got was through people around me, network. It's always phone calls. Hey, George, are you interested in this? You know, and even when I traveled, I still get phone calls. Hey, there's an opportunity for you. It's just the numbers doesn't add up for me. So put yourself in places where people can call you up. Hey, man, there's an opportunity for this. You know, not just people like you that you don't have money. You're around people like you that don't have money. Two of you just complaining and being stupid with poverty. I'm sorry to say, for my harsh words, like, you are struggling, you are gathering people that are struggling with you. Two of you are now adding struggle and comparing level of struggle. This one, at least I get one to get car. This one will get, you are put yourself in a situation where you can grow. It's 2024. It's a chance to make it. Then lastly on this topic is expand your reading knowledge. I think this is one of the things that people don't understand. The solution to most problems is hidden either in a book or on the internet, but people don't realize it. If you don't read, you won't learn. I just gave you an example of, I did my 2 weeks plus research and figured out how to create a year worth of content on YouTube Shorts. Yesterday, I was trying to figure out how to monetize YouTube, and I saw one video. I've been on this for like a week too, but I found one video yesterday. Like, the guy showed a trick with, of doing it, and it pointed me in the right direction. For example, people sell ebooks online. Everybody, because nowadays I say, I'm doing ebook, I'm doing this, but everybody claims they're experts, but they don't sell. And the difference between them and the people who sell is just something very little: understanding the funnel, the flow, how to choose a niche that makes money. Someone once told me one thing, that in life, what you love will not make you money. And what makes you money is not necessarily what you will love. And that's stuck in my head. And it's true. I love finance business partners. Believe me, I love teaching. I love this life, like, adding value, changing stuff. But it's not what is giving me money. That's the frank truth. But I still have to figure out how to make money. And in changing my mindset, I'm starting to see opportunities, which is the example I just gave you of, wow, people can export things. And it was because I just started to engage, and what I realized is asking is something that we do, we make a mess of a lot. People don't ask. And I don't think I've ever asked anybody doing well that has never been willing to teach me. That's what I just realized. But we never ask. We just, first of all, because we are trained to assume. We are trained to have so much prejudice and hatred. When you see somebody doing well, first, is Yahoo, or a person is doing juju, or, he's a criminal. All you have to do is ask, hey man, how do you do this? Can you teach me? You'll be surprised how you find out that they are not. One of my friends is into FX, making a lot of money, trading commodities and co online. You think he's a Yahoo boy because of his lifestyle, but he's not. He's making genuine, clean money. But if you see him, that is flashy, he has a ring. I think now he has even done tattoo. But he has never done any single Yahoo or crime in his life. He showed me his screen once, and I'm like, whoa, bro. This is a guy that's 2022. He said he made over $200,000 in margins, profits. This one is not story. He showed me. And he showed me his process. Of course, you lose money, make money and all that, but net, he bought some deals that were good. He showed me some deals. There was a deal he made almost $35,000 on, just one single deal. So, but you won't know. When he's doing his job, he's focused and all that, but he's living the life he wants to live. And because we have a society where the first thing is, once you are doing better, it's juju, or things don't go right for you, the first thing is witchcraft. Is the witches in my village. Which witch? Do you think you're the only one which have time for? Eh? Which is chasing Adenuga too now? Which is chasing Otedola now? They are chasing Dangote. You don't think they chase those people too? But how come they are able to survive? Because they've been able to pick up some of these things I've listed here. They've been able to define their network. They don't sit around with poor people. Anywhere you see Otedola, you see Dangote. Anywhere you see Dangote, you see Otedola. Why? I watched Tony Elumenu's DN White Party, and I saw the people there. I'm like, you won't see them show poor people. And there are poor people there too now, but they don't waste that energy showing that. You see the big names in the country there. Because when you're around them, opportunities will naturally crop up. And believe me, these are all human beings. I've been in those situations. I've been in some of those conversations. These are all human beings. They are willing to teach you if you ask and show genuineness. Don't ask, because the first thing we as human beings do is we beg for money. Help me. Why would I help you? Don't go asking for help. Provide value. Increase your own value. People will naturally pay for you, which is the upskilling thing. You can even upskill in your organization. Learn the right skills. Some of you have companies struggling with budget. It's your CFO that sits alone on trying to build budget. Go and learn how to build budgeting and see whether they won't increase your salary or promote you. Upskill yourself even within your organization. Make yourself more relevant. Add value to yourself as a person, and you'll get good results. So, recommended steps, and this is just my own, what I'm doing for myself, and I think it will be helpful for everybody if you can stick to this too. It's my 4-week plan for January. Week 1, identify your strengths and weaknesses. Focus on leveraging on your strengths. I know my weakness, I know my strengths. I'm a visionary, I know how to drive things. I know how to come up with ideas. I know strategy, but I don't know how to do the legwork. So I'm not killing myself on that. So first of all, I've penned down where my areas of strengths are, and I know what I'm going to leverage on a personal note for this year. I would advise you to do the same thing. The first week of January, sit down, look at your strength. Because even if you know your weakness, let me be honest with you, no matter how much you develop your weakness, you can only be average at it. But if you develop your strengths, you'll be an exceptional person. If you are somebody who is good at reading, if you develop your reading skills, you become Superman, technically, or Superwoman. But if you focus on, I don't know how to do this, if you can improve it, I'm not saying don't improve your weakness, but I'm saying you can never be exceptional at something you're weak at, because it will take you more effort. But if you put in that same effort in something you are good at and outsource what you're not good at, maybe collaborate, you will be exceptional, even beyond what you can imagine. Week 2 for me is identify individuals or groups that can teach a new skill that will help earn additional money. See, me, I'm done with, the process of trying to figure it out alone. That way we were taught in school. Find people who are doing great things. Find people who are achieving stuff you want to achieve that is in line with your strength. It's not hard. Once you know what your strength is, you want to write a book, you want to sell, you want to figure out to export, you want to learn FX, you want to learn stock market, whatever it is. Look for people who are doing it. Find the ones that will teach you. Be careful too. Don't go, everybody's an expert. This is where you look online. I'll teach you. And believe me, it's always easy to know people who are lying or not. Ask them about their own world. Show me example of what you are doing in your own real world. A lot of people don't have those skills. And it's easy. If you take your time to dig, you'll see it without them even telling you. Identify them and, get them to train you. Pay for it. Because free sometimes kills people. People are always looking for free. If you like free, Oshofree will not help you forever. Let me be honest with you. If you had gone to university doing Oshofree, you probably wouldn't have taken it serious. You'd have dropped out in year 1. But because you pay for it, that brought you the discipline that this money, my parents' money must not enter fire, so I must finish this school. So it's very important. Don't worry about how much you pay. I always tell people, the question you should be asking is, okay, if I pay 100,000 naira for this, am I getting value up to 500,000? And if your answer is yes, don't waste your time. Stop focusing on the cost. Focus on the profits. If I'm investing 100,000 in myself to make 500,000, it's 400,000 extra, not me paying 100,000. Don't confuse yourself. It's extra 400,000 that I won't make if I didn't develop myself. Look at it from that perspective. It's about the mindset. You focus, this thing is expensive. Because there's a guy that I think I know, he trains people for 50K for FX. I think Jago. I've heard one or two people that I told, it's expensive. I'm like, okay, you want to learn a skill that will make you millions of naira. You're telling me 50,000 is expensive. Then stick with your 50,000 life and continue your 50K poor life. Money that some people are using to flex in, 5 minutes. And you're saying it's expensive. Continue and stick to your expensive life. So focus on the value, not what it costs you. As long as the value exceeds the cost, don't bother ahead. 3, my week 3, identify and attend trainings that will help you develop those skills required to earn additional money. That's what I'm planning on. Identify them and attend it. It's not enough to sit down and say, okay, I know this. Then you sleep and we don't do anything about it. You need to attend. You need to do it. Start with those free master classes, then to test it. Once you've tested it, go in further. Invest in yourself. You are the only resource that can help you achieve anything you want in life. So if you don't invest in yourself, I don't know what you invest in. Then 4, most importantly, this for me is the biggest thing here. Accountability partners. Because here's what happens. We all start, New Year resolution, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. Then guess what? Our indiscipline and laziness, right? Because I call it laziness. We will now start, I can't come and kill myself. I've seen people that have asked to read a book. They can't read a 10-page book, but they are willing to write a 20-page report at work. And I always laugh, like, you don't realize that is a problem of discipline. That is your issue. The only reason you do it at work is because you know that if I don't do that report, they will sack me. So there's some, pressure on you. But the one that you're supposed to do for yourself to develop the discipline to do it, you can't do it. Why? Because you're not disciplined enough. So, but importantly, what you need to do is find accountability partners and let them help you. Let them help you. I'm doing that. Like, people will call your BS, Oga, you need to do this thing tomorrow. If not, you're just a useless person. Not somebody who's saying, don't worry, you don't have to do it. No, anybody will tell you, point to your face, say, look, do it. If you don't do it, you're very indisciplined and unserious. Do it. That way, even you'll be afraid to call them when they want to call, hey, God, this person's calling me, asking me to do this thing. They will help you. They'll help you achieve it. At the beginning, it will be tough because building a new habit is always tough. But after a while, a month, it becomes second part to you. You start doing these things naturally and you'll be the best for it at the end of the year. So for FBP as a community, one of the things we are also planning for in terms of outlook, and this comes from a lot of feedback, a lot of engagement and trying to, do for some people. This is not marketing for everybody. These are things that we're looking at doing to help the community that can benefit members too. And very importantly, if you're interested, we'll share more as the time goes by. This is our own plan for the year. And, we will also have our plans. First of all, we'll be launching our members website in January. There's a website, we've been building it, you've had some back and forth around it, struggles, but we're almost there. It's a website. It will have some courses in it, free courses, some paid courses, because we can't do everything ourselves. We're going to have people who also put content in there, and they need to make money from that process too. We're hoping to launch it by January. Then we're also introducing ebooks and courses to help people upskill. So this has been something that we've been really hammered on by a couple of people. Like, they want to learn. We have enough people who are tax experts. We have people who can do financial modeling. We have people who can do all forms of training, but we've not really pushed it. So people have been asking that, make this happen. Like, so it's one of the areas we're looking at making it happen this year. Like, let's cut the crap. Let's add value. So it's not, and one of the things we're trying to do in being careful with this is we don't want to give you textbook theory, what you learn in school or what you learn on Google. We want something real, something practical, something that we cut the BS and we do the work straight. So it's part of what you'll be getting this 2024. Like I mentioned earlier, free courses for beginners and paid. If you want to double down on your skill, you have to pay, because people are going to put time into it to teach you. And it's not everybody that will believe in free like me. So you will have to pay. And like I said, don't look at the cost. Focus on the value. If it's worth the value, pay. And if it's not, don't waste your time to make any payment, because there's no point in paying for something you will not use. Yeah. So then we're also working on a premium membership community for who want to achieve their accountability goals. Because in having this conversation about accountability, one person asked me, what can I get such accountability partners? And it struck me. There are a lot of them out there, but if you're not careful, if you say your friend should hold you accountable, guess what? If your friend is also an indisciplined person like you, two of you will just be, like I said, your network is your network. If you're around people who are not disciplined, you will struggle. One thing I tell you today about billionaires is, if you've ever met any, they don't play with their time. If they give you 30 minutes, take it from me. 30 minutes is 30 minutes. If you go 1 minute late, I've met a few in my life and they don't tolerate lateness. In fact, one used to tell me that if you are early, no, if you are on time, you are late. If you are early, you're on time. Meaning, if I give you a meeting for 8 o'clock, I expect you to be there at latest 7:45. So if you are there 7:55, 8 o'clock, you are late to them. So, and that's something I pick when I'm talking to big men. I leave everything, I go and get there before them because they don't have the time and stomach for all those kind of things. So we're trying to build that. So, and it's important that we get people who have like minds into that. That's why it's premium. I don't want people who just join for joining sake and after a while they are not that disciplined. If you pay for things, I realize that when people pay for things, they take it more seriously. So if you pay for things and you feel there's value in it, you will also benefit. And that way you can also be accountability partner to other people while people are also holding you accountable to your goals. Then we're launching our formal and coaching mentorship programs with some of the best. So what we're trying to do is we started this year. I held a few with a few schools, a few people and all that, but I'm just me. I know a number of people who are doing very well that can also do the same thing, but it will either cost you money or cost you discipline. Because I've spoken to a few guys that are C-level officers in places, and like I said, when you are talking to big men, they don't have time, so they don't want you to waste their time. So I'm gonna be careful in assigning people to individuals to those people so that we don't mess up relations. Some of these relationships are built them for 20 years, even longer. So these are people that I to look up to. Some of them are even younger than, but I look up to them because of what they've done. So we're bringing that on board. Now, these programs are things that not fully formed, but they are things that we're working on making happen to this year, because it's enough to tell you all these things. We've been doing meet and chats, but some people, after they take the meet and chats, they go home, go back to their old lives. So we want to see how is it possible to move people from that point by actually helping them achieve it. So that's why we're highlighting these things that we're doing for next year. So, any questions? Thank you very much for listening. Okay, so let me open up the queue. So, okay, Latifa, you can unmute and ask your questions. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for this session. It was really insightful. So my question basically is about the FBP. So I want to make further inquiries on how to join. Is it going to be paid for us to join, and the free courses and also the paid courses, and what are the fields that are actually needed? Or is it any course anybody dealing with any course can actually join or something?
Okay, great question. So for MVP as a community, I'm not sure if you're a member of our WhatsApp group or any of the communities. One of the key things there is it's free. We have so many WhatsApp communities that you can join any. We throw free content. We do free trainings. We have this session on a monthly basis, some technical sessions and all that. Those ones are permanently free. Some of the courses we'll also be putting out on our websites will be free. The ones that we curate ourselves, what we get from other people that say, okay, put it up for free, will be free. The ones that will be paid are things that, because some of these courses will also be things that some of these people are selling. So it's either I pay them for it or someone else pays them for it. But those ones would not be free. And, what we'll do is try as much as possible to vet it. When we vet it, we make sure that, okay, hey, those things are adding value to you. There are topics that you'll be aware of and you will know, but, so, those ones the ones that will be paid, just in summary. If we don't control them, the owners will probably charge you for it and make you pay for it. But a lot of it will also be free, because I'm a free person. I like to give out free because I don't believe in there are some things I'll charge you for. For example, if you want me to teach you financial modeling, I will charge you, definitely, because I will show you the basics. But when you want to go in depth into it, because it will cost me my time, it will cost me a lot of effort to put that together. But if it's just the basic things like learning finance and things like that, they will definitely be free. So then the membership thing, we're not fully formed it out, but we're still tinkering that even if it's going to be paid, how much would it be? Because the goal is not to charge you money. The goal is to get people who are serious. Because I've tried it before. and it didn't work. Believe me, I've tried. I had a lot of people are always excited at the beginning of things, but the discipline or lack of in there always creates that problem, because if you're not disciplined enough, you will not be able to see it through. So, but that will communicate with time how the membership, the premium membership thing will work, but right now it's not fully formed. It's just something that I picked up from someone else. Like I mentioned earlier, that someone is doing something like that. And I'm thinking, I can do this for my community, Definitely not charge you $100 a year, because I know you wouldn't afford that's 100,000 naira for what, it's not the objective. The objective is to build a community where people would be able to develop themselves further. So, but one thing is, we'll communicate. If you're a member of any of the communities, we'll communicate as these things get rolled out before the end of the year. It's just to give you a highlight of some of the things that will show up in 2024. So I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. So I want to ask that, how do I join any of your WhatsApp community? Can you share the link or something?
Okay. Let me see if I can drop it on the community, on the platform.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, I'll drop it on the platform. So I'll drop it on the platform. So.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, no problem. I think Olukpo Steven. Sorry, I hope I didn't murder your surname. You can unmute and ask a question.
Yeah, thank you, sir, Mr. George. I really appreciate.
Sorry, I can barely hear you. I don't know if it's me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said I thank you for this opportunity this evening. Actually, this is my first time on this platform, and I really enjoy your lecture. And I can confess that you have really opened my eyes to a lot of things, a lot of opportunities. But my question is, I've seen your outlook for 2024. And basically the question is, with this your outlook, when is the timeline for all this opportunity to really put up for us to enjoy? That's the first question. And pending the time that will be out, is there any platform that you can actually put us through that we can learn, either free or paid for? That's my question, sir.
Okay, so I think, like I mentioned, we're still trying to fine-tune the opportunities to build it, because one thing I'm always being careful is I'm always being careful not to recommend what I don't know, to be honest, because there are a lot of fake platforms out there, and you go there, waste your time and not learn anything. But what I will tell you is that if you join any of our WhatsApp group or any community, I'm dropping some of the links in there. We post daily content on finance, and what drives what we do pretty much is, look, there's a lot of things you Google and you learn. For example, if I tell you IFRS, if you're an accountant, you will learn now. You will join IFRS, you Google, you see all the stories on IFRS. But no Google will tell you anything about the changing business I just gave you. No Google will tell you about some of these things I just mentioned. So that's what drives what we do. We try to look for things that you won't see online or won't easily see, share it with you so you can learn from it. And every month we hold sessions like this. We invite people. We invited the president of ACCA. We invited people from the UK. We invited people from US, different countries. The whole idea is we bring people who have gone through this journey to share their experience and knowledge so that you can also learn. Those ones are permanently free. The sessions will always be free and all that. And we even invite people for technical sessions. We've had people who come to talk to us about tax, how to do tax pro max and all that. We always do that. So, but what I would suggest is, because in terms of timeline, what I would suggest is be a member of the community, then maybe follow our channels, because we post it across Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere, and all that, Instagram. We even have a YouTube channel where these videos will go to, so you can also see some of our past videos. Then it will be easy to announce the dates for it, because the outlook are things that we're talking about internally. I'm not the only person there. I have a wonderful team who do more of the work than me. I'm just the guy who talks too much and speak all the plenty English. There are guys who actually do this work, and make sure that you have the daily content, make sure you have things happening. We are in a number of schools across Nigeria. We have communities in schools. That's our goal, to touch the market. So what I would say is join the community. We will share it when it's live. I think we have a course. Let me just say, join the community. We will communicate to you very soon on some of the things that with the timeline and when it will happen. The website I was hoping to launch tomorrow, but the guy who's working on it told me to be ready. But I tested it yesterday. He didn't give me what I wanted. So I wanted him to make some changes and all that to it. And once that is done, we'll definitely share it on the community. So I'll tell you to be on the lookout. But I can guarantee you most of it will be happening before end of Q1, which is before end of March. Most of all these things I mentioned will be live, and you'll start to benefit from it. And one thing was also about us that I think I like is we're nimble. You come up with an idea that, hey, we want to learn more about this. We try to get people who have those skill sets to come on board, because we're not your typical community. I'll tell you that for free. We don't believe in doing things the same way everybody does it. So we do things based on feedback we get from members of our community. This community I mentioned is free. It's free forever. You can join any of the WhatsApp group, any of them forever. Tell your friends. You can come and ask questions. We've had people who shared jobs, who has gotten job opportunities. We've had people who ask job interview questions. And we've had people help each other. So it's free. That's our vision, to make that permanently free. But the upskilling side, it takes a bit of work, because we are also vetting people. We've spoken to one or two people who train, but we vet them. For example, one of the ones that we are very proud of, we do this ICANN pre-scene. We've done it twice now, and it's been a success. I can tell you. You can ask anybody in the community, and they'll tell you that people will join those sessions. The pass rate is very high, because we got some of the best guys. There's a guy, Kudus Balogun. They are also running the community mentors platform. We bring them on board. Like I said, we collaborate. They are good at that. So we try to make sure that this is someone we've vetted. We know he's good at this. So, hey, come and talk to guys, members of our communities. And, then there's the other communities too. We have the accounting job hub. We partner with them. They've done QuickBooks training also. We vetted them. We've seen, okay, these guys do this thing. They do very okay. Come and talk to the community. So that's how we make these things happen. So I'll just tell you, join any of the WhatsApp group or any of your LinkedIn or whatever. Then when the time is right for any of them, we'll let you know as each of them gets, shared out there. Thanks. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Stephen. So any other question? I know I've taken much of your time. That wasn't the goal, but I think it's very important that we end the year well with the right mindset and start a new year with the right mindset. So we'll definitely get somebody else to talk about how to, hit hard on 2024 by the time we go into 2024. So it's very important that I'm an execution person. I don't believe in talking. If you talk from us, the world will never be a better place. So, but if you execute well and execute with the right minds, you would achieve a lot. So, any other question from anybody? Okay. I think people are shy. So this is another thing I'll tell you. I don't know if it's shyness or whatever it is, but everything I've achieved in my life, right, is because I've asked questions. I've asked the weirdest and what some people call the hardest question. It's funny because if you don't ask, you'll never find out. So my advice to you is, if you have a question, please feel free to ask. No stupid question, nothing silly. 2024 is going to be a tough year. Let's not BS ourselves about it. I'm also thinking of ways around it. Life happens, but at the end of the day, you have to be ready, because you can't stop life from happening. So you have to plan towards it. You have to look towards it. A lot of companies will let go. Like I gave you a typical scenario. I've experienced tax investigation, and it's one of the worst experiences I've had. I've done tax audit so many times, but investigation is one of the worst. And I know that it would be a very tough one when they come to your company this coming year. Somebody's asking, please, how can we learn FX skill too? I would reach out to the guy to probably share his link on the community. I don't do FX. I'm the person teaching me. Believe me, you can't he won't even teach you because this particular guy is not, I mean, he's actually not teaching me FX. He's teaching me commodity trading. Commodity trading is a whole different, monster on its own. It's about oil and gas, trading gold, trading stuff like that. That's a whole monster on its own. So, but for the FX, I think we'll look for, because I think there are a couple of people on the group to also do that. We'll just engage with them first to vet them, because like I said, I don't want somebody to come and join and collect people's money at the end of the day to look like a scam, because everybody's an expert these days. But yeah, and I know, if for me, I will know somebody if you're an expert or not by the time I sit with you and ask you the right questions. So you can't ask me about engineering, I don't know. But if you ask me about finance, I can tell you, because I've been doing this for like 2 decades. But last 10 of it, I've been a CFO. So I can tell you in terms of fundraise and things. But when you now ask me tax, man, Udo, I know nothing about tax. Okay, I think 2 people are raising their hands for the queue. Okay, I think first thing is Olaiwola Abubakar. I think, can you unmute and ask a question?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
I would like to thank you for your time and for the lecture. It's really a very awesome one. So thank you for taking the time to share the knowledge. So my question is about how to access, how to monetize once you online. For example, now, if somebody knows the financial modeling, it might be difficult to get, let me say, physical job in addition to your main job, like something like additional job in addition to what you're doing. So the question is that how any site or whether financial modeling is one of jobs that people are like looking forward to. Like, what are the sites? Which site that can we go to take the advantage? I don't know if you get my question, sir.
Honestly, I can barely hear you, but I think I heard something around financial modeling. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Listen now. So did you say something about financial modeling?
Yes. The summary of my question is just that. So, for example, somebody knows financial modeling or other things. So, which site can one get a job from in that regard?
Okay, so I'll tell you one funny thing about what do you call it? In fact, let me tell you the very funniest way I've answered you with that. The first thing you need to do is go to Google and search exactly what you said and see what to give you as feedback. You'll be surprised that Google alone will answer your question. Say, hey, you can get opportunity doing this here, and here. Now, first of all, I'll tell you one thing. One of the ways that I've always made extra money, in my career, I've done, if I'm not exaggerating, I've done over 150 to 200 financial models. I'm sure it's more than that. I've done, in fact, right now I can count 20 companies that I've done for that are still running based on the models I built for them. What I've realized about it is, if you have a skill, it's just like you have a product, you want to sell something. The first thing is you need to find who is looking for that product, or find where people will be looking for that product to go, and go there and market your product. So, for example, I don't know where you are. If you are, I don't know if you're in Lagos or wherever you are. Are you in Lagos? Let me even start from there.
Yes, I'm in Lagos, sir.
Great. Have you been to Yaba before, CC Hub? Have you heard of it?
No.
Great.
No,
So
sir.
that's the first thing you need to do. You need to go to where people who need financial models go. And where are they? Right now, your first easy market is where startups, people who are into startup go, all these young startup guys. I just gave you a name, CC Hub. Interestingly enough, the current minister of digital, whatever, what's this called? Bosun Tijani is the founder of CC Hub. It's in Yaba. It's free. You can go in there, you can sit, meet with the young guys building the future. A lot of all these companies you see, Paystack and Co, they started from that place. A lot of young startup guys. I used to go there for fun. Then I used to, and that's why I met a lot of guys who are doing startups. And that's why I did a lot of financial models for quite a number of them. So you need to find time, visit there. I can't remember the exact number. Just Google CC Hub Yaba or Bosun Tijani's business is somewhere in Yaba. You meet people who are building tech, developers who are developing tools. You offer the service to them. Hey guys, let me do your accounting for you. Let me do your financial modeling and things like that. And that's how you start. And from experience, once you do well for one person, guarantee you the referral is where your money will come from. Everyone I did, I never even had an advert. I didn't even have a company then. And it was always, oh, yeah, now this guy doing for me. Speak to him. Now this guy doing for me. So that's how you do it. So the first thing is find where they are. Who are the people who need financial models? You can't go to a big company. They won't even talk to you. But look for the startups, the guys who are just starting, trying to build a business. Go in their communities. Check on LinkedIn. You even see a lot of them. They organize events. There are a couple of guys, Ini Aboyeja also. They organize events where they bring startup guys together. Network around them. When you network, you get information around startups. You get information of how to help them build, and you start to make some money from those guys. They may not pay you a lot now because they don't have, but I can assure you, these are some of the future Paystack, some of the future Flutterwave. Some of them are already being built there. There are so many of those kind of communities too across Nigeria. Not even just Lagos. I think there's in Ibadan. There's so many of them. If you Google it, you see it. So that's free money idea I've just given you. Go there, check CC Hub. It's CC Hub. I'm 100% sure that's the name. It's somewhere along Yaba, that about Macaulay Way. Is it about Macaulay or not? I keep forgetting. I just know that I drive there. It's near Adekunle, not far from Adekunle bus stop. Once you go there, you will network, and from there you start to figure out how to sell to them. So that's what I would advise. I don't know if that answers your question, because I didn't really get it well.
Yes, it's not.
Okay. Then do a Google search. Where do startups hang out in Lagos? Where do startups hang out in Kaduna? Where do they hang out? Wherever. You will see, and you go there and you network. Network is your net worth. There you get more information, and you see the problems they have. They are all developers. They're IT people. They don't know anything about numbers. I used to do bookkeeping for a lot of them then too. I used Wave. There was a time I had about 10 of them. The money wasn't just attractive to me, but 50K per client would be good enough for you. So if you have 10 of that, bros, you might even quit your job to face it full time, and so that's how it is. So I think I've answered you. I think Chidera, his hand is up. Can you unmute and ask a question?
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. It's always insightful listening to you. Okay, sir. My question is, for someone that is, young, I'm still trying to grow my career in accounting, and then I'm also trying to upskill, do other things that can earn me money. But sometimes I realize that, I went into graphics design recently, but it takes time, and I also need that time for my career. So I'm struggling with how to balance, learning skills that are not really related to your career and still, succeed in your career, because I'm also looking at my career path. I want to be, I want to rise to the highest level in the accounting profession, the aspect I've chosen. And also I want to do other little things. And then some people are like, okay, save and invest. But then you find out that even in this kind of Nigeria with the whole inflation, and it's kind of a little bit difficult to now save that huge amount of money to invest in maybe stocks or other things. Even this FX now, I've spoken to Jago, I realize you need to be dedicated. You need to put in time too, to earn from it. So I'm now struggling with the balance with, someone that wants to go, through a career path and then do other side hustles to, make money. So my question is, how does someone find the balance? Learning those skills, still trying to upskill, regarding your career and all that.
Sure. Okay, Zainab, can you please mute? I think the noise is coming from your end. Okay, so Actually, what your question is a very fantastic one, and it's what everybody faces every day. So, life. Hello, Zainab. I think you. I think I'm not sure I'm able to mute her. Zainab, can you mute Zainab M? Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So your question is very real, and this is reality. So I think one of the problems we have nowadays is nobody teaches us that everything takes time and patience and commitment. And that's one. Then two, nobody teaches us that you can't do everything, which is where the problem is. So if I'm hearing you well, you want to rise to the top of your career and you also want to invest and you also want to.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good. So each one is a unique part that requires its own time, but doesn't require as much time as you think. So now, here's what I'll tell you about career. First of all, I was privileged in my life because I chose a different strategy. Very painful strategy. I would never advise anybody, but I chose it. So I didn't choose it, actually. The strategy chose me. Life happened. I became a CFO after working for about 10 years. Most people I know will never get that opportunity. And the problem with doing that was within that 10 years, I changed jobs like 5, 6 times. Yeah, about 5 times. It's not the best advice for anybody. Believe me, it's even you putting it on your CV. Some days I used to doubt myself, but life happens. Life pushed me towards that line. So I ended up like that. And my own strategy was simple. If I wanted to work for a big company as a CFO, it would take me 25, 30 years. I know. So it wasn't going to happen for me. So I knew that the easiest way to be there is find a company that is small, that is going to grow big, a startup, develop skills that not everybody had. I was one of the few that joined e-commerce early. I joined Deal Day as a CFO 2013. Yeah, Deal Day as a CFO 2013. E-commerce is new. Nobody knew anything about e-commerce then. All these Konga, Jumia, people are buying now. Then nobody wanted to buy from them. So in doing that, I chose my career path. It was a 50-50 thing. It could work out, it could fail. Whatever it is, I'm not interested. I knew that at some point I'll get there. So now, bringing it back to reality, what are the lessons I've learned? First of all, you need to identify what you define by career path. And the easiest way to do that, I always tell people, is this. Identify 3 key people that you want to be like. It's very simple. Go on LinkedIn, go everywhere. There will be individuals that you want to be like. Identify them. Look at their journey. What do they have? What gaps is there between you now and what they have? And start to feel it. Career will not happen in 1 year, 5 years. It will happen in a lifetime. It could take 20 years. It could take 15. It could take 30. But as long as you consistently keep knocking on that door, you will grow along that line. I carved the niche for myself in my career path. I chose retail, commerce and retail. I've worked in digital bank. I've worked in gas. I've worked in different fields, but I chose my path where I wanted to be an expert in. And ever since then, there's nothing you bring up in e-commerce or retail that I cannot handle. I can come up with your strategy. I can show you all those things. Tech. I tried fintech. Yeah, not my area of strength. I know some things around it, but it's not where I'm stronger. But when you talk of retail, the consumer mind and all that, I developed myself. So what I kept on doing, I kept on getting skill that makes me better and better. Because the higher you go in your career, you need to specialize. That's one part. Then the other part of career is this. There are 3 phases in everybody's career. There's the early phase where you are learning. At that point, you be a sponge. You learn everything, get all the knowledge. Then there's the mid stage where you learn how to manage people. You are no longer a junior. You are now managing teams. You are leading people. At that point, nobody cares about your technical abilities anymore. What people focus more is, how are you able to get your team to get the job done? As I am now, I always say it, I don't hide it. I've been a CFO for many years, but I'm not an IFRS expert. I don't even know, I'm not that good with consolidated financial statements. But guess what? If I need to do it, I can do it. 2 things will happen. It's either I go on Google, figure it out, or call one of my people, come, I'm giving you an assignment, get this done for me within the next 12, 24 hours. Who cares whether I did it myself or someone else did it? At the end of the day, what I've been able to develop there is I've been able to know that, okay, if I need something done, how do I get it done? That's the highest level of your career, whereby it's no longer about you having technical skills. It's no longer about you managing it. It's now how strategic you are. Can you look at a business and say, okay, in the next 5 years, this is what is the economy is going towards. These are the advantages we need to take care of. Can you sit down and be strategic? Then can you manage leaders? Because at that point, it goes beyond just work. It's now about, and that's why you see when you see all the CEOs or C-level officers, directors, they always attend parties, they always attend their events, so then it's no longer about work. It's about relationship management. It's about brand management. You won't see them fighting, even though some people do. You won't see them wrongly in the press. So what I will tell you is this. First of all, identify the people you want to be like. Study their career path, study their life, study how their journey went. Look for skills they seem to have and try to develop that gradually. It's not a 1-year thing. It's not a 2-year thing. Give yourself 5 years, because I used to do that. I used to give myself 5-year cycles. If I say, okay, 2024 now, by 2029, I'm doing my next 5 years. Personally, my next 5-year review is 2025. So I have my 5 years. My next 5-year review of my life and what direction I want to go to is 2025. So between now and then, I've identified like 3 or 4 things I want to achieve, and I'm already going along that line. My own, I can tell you for free. I know finance, I know business, financial modeling, I know accounting, but I don't know that much in project management. So I understand finance transformation from a strategic level, but I don't know it in terms of technical level. Like, okay, IT, go in detail. So I'm developing myself in that skill. Now, does that stop what I'm also doing? It doesn't stop it. If you are in ICANN, you still study for your ICANN. What are the trends in accounting? What are the trends, what is IFRS releasing? What is the Finance Act? Those kind of things. Then in the company you work for, what are the things that will impact for the organization? You need to learn those knowledge. You need to keep acquiring, developing yourself in those ones. Those are the core of what makes you money. But on the side, have a goal that, okay, if I'm going to be where would I be in 2025? Yours can be 2 years, yours can be 3 years, yours can be even 1 year. Where do I want to be at this? What is one thing? Don't over-labor it. That's where a lot of people make mistakes. You want to do 10 things. Absolutely, you cannot do. I don't think I've met anybody that's done more than 3 things in a year. Big things. So focus on maximum 3. I would even suggest choose 2 or even 1. Then when you hit that 1, you can pick up another one. That way you can develop it as a process. But career path takes a while. Now, money making is a different mindset, a different mentality. The first book that I read that changed my life, and I read this book 2004, is by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read that book over and over and over because, to be honest with you, when you read the book the first 2-3 times, you won't understand it. You'll be talking crap. And this is why he's talking crap, because your mind is wired in a certain way. Everybody keeps thinking the only way you make money is by doing an extra job or doing extra work. But what the book will tell you is this: rule number 1 of the rich people: rich don't work for money. Which is weird. And you ask yourself, like, if rich people don't work for money, so how will they survive? How do they even get money? Because the first thing is this: don't forget, it's fighting. What you're reading is fighting everything you've been taught in your life. Like, I have to work hard, and somebody's telling you to do the exact opposite. So it won't make sense to you. Like, why is somebody telling me to do the exact opposite of what my parents taught me? Everybody around is telling me. So that's why I said the first thing you work on is your mindset. Ability to be open-minded to anything in life. Be able to process stuff. Somebody told me that. And I'll tell you one funny thing that is funny, it's crazy, but it's true. There's an investment I did with somebody. The person is giving me 20% per annum on this investment. 20% at the end of the year. I'll keep the money with him. He'll give me 20% at the end of the year. Now, I'm able to borrow money at 12% per annum. So in that case, what I've done is I borrowed the money. I'm giving the person. This is a real life scenario. $20,000 in loan. at 12% per annum, giving it to the business will give me 20% per annum. At the end of the year, I would have created how much? So if I'm borrowing 20, let's even simplify it, let's say $10,000. I'm borrowing at 12% per annum. I'm going to pay interest of 1,200 at the end of the year. Versus him giving me 20%, he's paying me 2,000. So effectively, I've created $800 without doing anything, without my money. Do you understand the logic?
Yes, yes.
So that's the first thing you need to work on, that mindset. You don't have to be the one doing the work. You just need to understand how money works. And the first thing about money is that money comes from solving a problem. If you understand that if you are solving a problem, first of all, not all problem needs to be solved. But if a problem is big enough and it's a pain for people, you will make money. And that's what banks do. Banks give you interest on your money you put in the bank because it is solving a problem. You don't want to take a risk because money also comes with risk. Like you mentioned, Jago, FX takes years. It's not a one-day thing. It's the same thing, and I think this is where people make mistakes. People spend 4 years in the university to get a job to be an accountant. They suddenly expect to learn business in 1 month and become an expert. Why do they make you spend 4 years in university before they employ you to be an accountant? Why does ICANN make you go through 3 or 4 stages with how many papers before they give you a certificate that you know what you're doing? It's the same logic. All these things come with time. In ICANN, some people will fail, then pass, But the reality is, everything takes time and dedication to learn. So that's why the first thing you need to understand is, like I always say, change your mindset. There's no shortcuts to anything. Anybody telling you there's a shortcut, they're lying. There's a higher level of money making, which you will also figure out with time. That's what the whole idea of arbitrage. I know people in the past that what they used to do is they call themselves contractors. And what do these contractor guys do? They have connections. They'll take government contracts and sell it and make their own of it. They've not done anything. The only thing they've done is they've built a network with people in government or wherever. When they build the network, those ones will give them contract with their company's name. They will get another company that can execute and make their money off the difference. So the bottom line there is this: investing is also like going to school. You need to take your time out. Learn about all of them, every type of investing, FX, shares, buying and selling, whatever it is. Get as much information about it. Identify the one you like, the one that makes sense, because not everything makes sense to you. Some people believe in real estate. Some people believe in stock markets. I don't believe in those kind of things. I'm the kind of guy who believes in building businesses. Building a business on its own is also an investment. Getting investor funding. Understand how venture capitalists work. Read about them. Broaden your horizon. Learn more. And you'll be surprised how you develop these skills. And one thing I think I'll tell you as maybe a summary of it is this. It's around your network. Find people who are killing it in some of these things. You mentioned Jago, and I don't know if he's gotten another job, but I know Jago quit his job to face FX fully. And for him to do that is to let you know that there's something he's seeing in there that is covering his expenses and paying his bills.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? And here's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. You see him trading FX. You see him making money from FX. But don't forget, he's also making money from trading. Jago charges 50,000 naira to trade, right? If Jago trains 10 people in a cohort, how much is that? That's 500,000.
Okay.
So you are fixated on learning the FX part, but you are not seeing the other opportunity of learning the skill and training other people.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's where the whole mindset thing comes in, that, think out of the box, think differently, understand the business model. A lot of people see, I think I know where we worked together, and I give you a little idea about the company. A lot of people see retail. A lot of people see, I'll use an example. People say, oh, this person buy and sell. But a lot of people don't know that same person who owns those stores actually charge the brands who use those stores 2 million per brand per annum. So those stores, I don't want to mention names. Those stores, when you walk in there, you see different brands with their t-shirts selling in there.
Yeah.
Those guys, the least paying pays 2 million naira every year for rent. And he has nothing less than 5 brands. That's 10 million. So what you see is the man is buying and selling. But you don't see what is behind the scene that he makes 10 million from the physical location. So people don't understand when he opens more locations that are opening new stores. You are seeing more trading, but he is seeing 10 million per physical location every year. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So it's all in the thinking, not what you see. Look at life from this perspective. When you read the news or watch the news, there's what they are telling you in the news, but there's what they are not telling you. Your job is to develop your brain to the point that you can see what they are not telling you. Do you understand? And that's why I gave you the example of that company as the last one there. You see he's opening shops. People are coming to buy and sell. But you and I know his margins are small. He's not making much from margin.
Yeah.
But what he's losing in margin is making from rent 2 million from each brand in that store. So every year, every single brand pays him 10 million for that store. The highest rent I know that I would pay for any of his stores was like maybe 4 million a month. And it's the one in VI. And that one was because it's located in a good place for adverts. The one he has in Ikorodu then, I know we're paying about 2.5. Imagine 10 brands paying him 10 million. One brand alone has paid for the rent for him. And they are still doing adverts and all that for his store. So what you see is the store. But behind the scene is not what makes him money. Other things make him money. So that's the whole idea. In summary, think differently. It will take time. So don't expect to figure it out. All this is I'm telling you, it took my whole career. I didn't do my first real investment till maybe 10 years because I put money in stocks, so everything went into fire. I stopped investing. But I figured out what do I like doing. I don't want to be monitoring shares up and down. I tried FX to this one, I go up and down. I lost on $1,000. I'm not doing this my life. So since then, but I was being stupid because I didn't take the time to learn the skill. I just jumped into it. I should be to watch up. I watched a few YouTube videos. When the thing is up, I'll see the thing going up and down. Look, like Naira bets, bet Niger. Bam, the thing will go. Coach. Till I emptied my money. Say, hey, which kind of... So, but with time and my experience now, I realize before you do anything, you need to understand how it works, understand the business model, understand how these games work. What Jago is missing, right, from what he's doing is it's not there yet, but I'm sure it will get there, is it will take it to a higher level where some of these platforms, if he's good enough, he will take it to where some of these platforms will pay him to train their people.
Yes.
So that's where you need to be targeting, where you can now build a brand. When you have a brand, let people pay you for that brand, not the work. At that point, you will not be working again to make money. Then you now, why do you think people invest in real estate? Real estate is something that will last forever, but also understand how real estate works. Everything, don't go and buy land from Omonile where you don't get title. Don't go and buy land in a location that will not make sense. I have a piece of land around that Dangote axis. I bought it like 7 years ago. 7, 8 years ago. The moment I heard that there are going to be free trade zone and there's going to be Dangote refinery, I know that land will be worth a lot by 2030. And I'm telling you about it like 6, 7 years. So I'm already thinking 15, 20 years ahead because I can study, okay, from my little research about land, it is bush that becomes cities. Do you get? So don't focus on the small 1 naira to 2 naira part of investment because remember, you're investing for your future, Abi. You're not investing to spend the money now. You're investing to build the future. So think to yourself that what can you put your money in that in the next 15, 20 years that you need it, you would have grown in value more than, what it is. So that's my advice to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem. You can reach out. We can have a further detailed conversation around some of these things. I'm happy to anytime I'm free.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm so grateful.
No problem. Akinyemi Daniel, I think you're the last person with your hands up, so we don't take too much time. I think after you, we'll probably just end. So Akinyemi Daniel, you can unmute and ask a question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. I've gotten a lot of insights, from your presentation. I don't know if you would remember me. I was one of the guys that told you that I was working for a startup, and you guided me on how to function in
Oh,
that role.
oh, oh,
I've been trying to reach you, but I guess you have been very busy.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just drop a message in case next time. Yeah.
Okay. So I can see that there are a lot of things outlined for 2024,
Yeah.
and I'm really, really happy about it. And I would really love, all of these plans to come to fruition as soon as possible. But what I wanted to ask is what's with respect to mentorship, because I see that is where there is a gap.
Yeah.
It's one thing for you to have theory, and it's another thing for you to have like experiential and practical understanding. For instance, I recently completed my MBA in finance, in ULAC, but when
Yeah.
it comes to practical knowledge, there is a gap. So I don't know what is part of your plan in actually bridging that gap in terms of mentorship, particularly for finance professionals. That's my question.
Okay. Okay. I mean, thanks. I didn't even remember the name and details. Well, I hope you're enjoying the job now. I remember when you wanted to start, there was that. You saw a lot of different realities, right? In terms of
Yeah.
totally different. So,
Totally different, yes.
yeah, I'm happy to have added value to you. 2024 definitely it's part of what we have in plan. We're just trying to figure out how it will work, how we'll structure it. Because if you know me well, I'm not someone who likes to just talk, teach. I like to bring reality into whatever conversations we have. So it makes sense. So we're working on it. We'll definitely communicate, and I believe you're on the platform, and we will definitely let you know how it will pan out and play out. Because I also want a situation where value is added. For me, value add is the number one thing in the whole thing. I'm not really interested in conversations much. It's just if it's not adding value, then it's a waste of our time. So, but I'm happy. I'm happy that at least you're here today, because I think I'm starting to remember some of the conversations we had in terms of cap tables, right? That the guys
Yes.
cap tables and things like that.
Yeah.
You will never see in any textbook or anything.
You will not at all.
So yeah, and this is one of the things that is driving me. Someone else like you that mentioned it too, like what the person called me. It was a very weird story. Like they are burning cash. That what they are spending on marketing is more than gross margin, or gross profit. He's afraid. I'm like, why are you afraid? And that's why I ran the person through the process of the different phases of life of a company. There's the early stage of a startup, and I think I mentioned the same thing I had mentioned to you too. For like, first thing you need to understand is what is the business model? Why is that business in business? Ask the questions that are not seen, because a lot of people confuse it because they teach you in school that profit is always profit, but some don't understand that every business is in a different state. For example, a VC-backed business, their focus is the business is not a business. The business is a product, meaning that you build something, acquire users, and sell to somebody who will optimize. That's a VC model. A PE model is different. A private equity model is different. A PE model is a business is already running, but it's inefficient. They are losing money here and there. A PE will come in, will pump in money, bring in management team, run the business in a more effective way, and make the business alive. But there's an unwritten part of that too, which comes with experience. A PE will never tell you that the reason why they go into a company is to be able to use that company to get funds out. So for a company, for example, a company that's doing well, if a private equity buys it, they'll use the company's asset to borrow money and, use it for their other investments. These are things I guarantee you never see it in any textbook.
You never.
It's only people who have seen it that understands that boy. So they'll tell you one thing in front, but behind the scenes is a lie. I don't know whether you've ever heard of the word leverage buyout before.
Yes, I have.
Good. So I was digging deep into the whole concept of leverage buyout, and it's a fraud as far as I'm concerned. Because what leverage buyout means in simple sense for people who don't understand it is you want to buy a company. The company has assets. The company is worth 100 million naira. The asset is like worth 60 million. you want to buy the company. You now take that same company you want to buy. You will use the assets to go and borrow money from bank to buy the company. That's it. That's a simple explanation of what it is, which is a fraud. Because why can't the company use its own asset to borrow money to fix itself in the first instance? But there's a lot of nitty-gritty that plays behind the scene. Where money comes out from those transactions is consultancy. They'll bring the consultants will charge a fee, yada, 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 so many things that you will never learn in any textbook and nobody will tell you except you've been in those conversations or somebody with experience will teach you. So, in summary, what I would say is we'll let you know when those things kickstart. At least just keep following the community. We'll communicate it, and I can guarantee that it will be value add because we're still trying to figure out how it will work out. So
so,
but reach out again, just send a message
I will definitely reach out.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
So much.
All right. Adegunju Stephen, I think let's make you the last so we don't finish people's data and keep everybody up. You can unmute. Thanks, Adegunju.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for the whole session. I really do appreciate that. Okay, the thing is, I'm just a learner. I started learning financial modeling and everything about it. And I started practicing, building some models about last month. And I don't know, seeing you that you are someone that have a big experience in that field or in that line. I don't know. I just wanted to explain how it looks like, how it is outside there about financial modeling. Thank you.
Okay, so look, I'll tell you from experience. Financial modeling is big grammar. Don't let anybody lie to you. Yeah, there's an ebook we're going to release soon. Financial model involves 3 key skills: basic knowledge of accounting, basic knowledge of Excel, and very important, the most important part is knowledge of business. Accounting meaning that you need to understand how P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow works. For example, I pay rent. Rent has 3 implications on the different reports. Rent will be broken down into monthly expenses in my P&L. Rent will go into prepayments as a lump sum in my balance sheet, while the portion of it that goes to P&L is reduced by the portion of it that goes to P&L. Then rent will go as one figure in my cash flow. So you need to understand that. So if somebody tells you pay rent, you know how to treat it in there. That's where the knowledge of accounting comes in. Knowledge of Excel, how to build links, sum if, equals, yada, yada, yada. You link all the different work tabs together. But the most important part I always tell everybody is this. Anybody can teach you 3-statement financial model, plug this, plug that. But if you miss this one, don't waste your time. You can never build a good model. And that's the knowledge of business. Every business is different. We've been, the guy I talked to earlier, we talked about business models. Like if you don't understand the business model, you can't build a financial model. So for example, there are organizations who sell things in credit. What is the cycle? Credit cycle. If they have a 30-day credit cycle, meaning that any sale made this month, they won't collect the cash till the next month. So you have to factor in those inputs into your financial models. So, or even interest expense, even, so many things, little things around it. But ultimately, the most important part of it is understanding the business. Anybody can plug things into Excel. There are now so many templates if you can use. The 3-statement that people use mostly is the analyzer, and they'll tell you, okay, expenses is 20% of revenue. This one is 5% of this. A lot of this is subjective, but it boils down to one thing, and I always say one thing: knowledge of business. So before you build any model or anything, you need to understand that business. You need to understand how things work. And like I always say, it's not about what they tell you. It's about what you see. Kuda Bank, for example, or most of the digital bank, free transfer. There's no such thing as free transfer in the banking system. Any interbank transfer gets charged at 5 naira per transaction by NIBS, who is the switch between all the banks. What the company does is they consume that cost on your behalf and they don't charge it back to you. So it's not free in the real sense of it. It's an expense. It's just that you are not the one paying for it. So the same thing, finance business partner is not free. People are putting their time, effort, doing research, spending money to put this here. So that's the whole concept behind financial modeling. Now, to make money off it, it's a very simple principle. You want to sell food. You won't go and stand in the desert. You will look for people where people are hungry and show them, I have food. Naturally, people will come for you. The difficult part is getting to identify where hungry people are gathered, which is what I think I told someone earlier, that If you're in Lagos, go to CCO. Anywhere you are, there are always startup communities. From there, you get your first start of building and collecting money, because startup guys are going to build models to raise, pre-seed, or whatever it is they are raising, angel investment, yada yada, whatever it is they are raising. So that's the two sides of it. Understand to build your model. You can learn Excel, learn accounting, no wala. But the most important part, understand each business, whatever you're going to work on. Very, very important. Understand it in details. Understand what happens, what the ordinary person doesn't see outside. Then two, go to where people who need these things are. Interact. Of course, you're not going to go there first day and say, hey, I do financial model, come and buy from me. Absolutely not. A simple way they crack that market, I'll tell you, is this. Meet any startup guy. Hey, man, can we meet for coffee? That's the language. If you understand that term, it means you understand how startups work. Everybody wants to meet for coffee. Once you meet, you engage. Okay, what are you working on? What are you building? From there, they'll give you the information. Oh, I'm trying to build this, solve this problem, yada, 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 yada. You'll be able to summarize it in your head. Okay, from an accounting perspective, this is how this person will make money. This is the direct cost to that making that money. This is the person's operational cost. This is the person's target market. These are the criteria. These are the assumptions and key drivers. Because in financial model, what people miss out is identifying what the key drivers are. If I'm selling a product to make more money, it's either I increase my price or I increase my volume. But each of them also has its own implication. You can increase price and sales will drop because people say you are too expensive because you're in a competitive market. And you can decide to say, I want to increase volume and start spending money on marketing and not make more money. And the only way to do it is enter into different markets. But ultimately, like I say, basic knowledge of accounting, basic knowledge of Excel, deep knowledge of business, because you need to understand the business. A model is just a financial representation of a story. You are just trying to tell a story in Excel or in a report. That's what a financial model is. Simple. There are different models. There's LBO, there's budget, there's cash flow, whatever you want to call it. But that's in summary what financial modeling is. So I hope I've answered your question, or I hope I didn't confuse you more.
No. Thank you very much, sir. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, so I think that's the last person. So that we don't keep everybody forever on this session, I want to thank everybody for taking out the time to attend this, for being part of the community, for adding value, and for being there. So we want to wish everybody a happy new year. Enjoy the best of next year. And please, very importantly, plan your year. Plan. Find accountability partners. It doesn't have to be finance business partners, but you need someone to hold you accountable to achieving this thing. It could be your parents, it could be anybody, but somebody disciplined enough to tell you the truth, not somebody that will be whining you. Very, very important, please. Thank you guys, and have a happy new year ahead. Thank you for listening today. See you in January. Thank you.